Granted, we are only like 3.5 hours into the stream, so that could change. We should talk to everybody.
Novacat, what's new?
I'm curious, Dietrich. Why did you switch from fronting a band to running the shadows?
Honestly, working the stage was getting boring, boss. Spitting and screaming at the world was fine and good when I was a kid, but it just didn't do it for me anymore. The Dragon Slayer wanted me to fight a real enemy, so I left the band behind and I turned to the shadows.
He shrugs.
I don't know, guess I figured that'd be the best way to find one.
Considering current events, I'd say that you're not wrong about that.
Yeah, I guess not. Feels kind of daunting, truth be told, but it's exciting. All the same. But it's exciting all the same. I've been looking for a worthy adversary for a while now. It's kind of satisfying having a white whale to chase.
How long have you been looking for a real enemy? He shrugs.
Not too long, ever since I took down the last one.
The last one?
Course. I might be able to sit around feeling pleased with myself if I followed the creator or the Moon Maiden, but the Dragon Slayer ain't that kind of idol. If I'm not drinking, I'm fighting, and if I'm not doing neither of those things, I'm looking for a bigger, better fight to get in next time.
Dietrich produces a flask from his jacket pocket and raises it in salute.
It's a remarkably simple code to live by.
I dig that. Who is this last one?
Gang boss, a great big orcish bastard called the Wildschwein. Led the local chapter of the Horde. I'd had my sights set on him and his for a while. They'd hurt a lot of people and I figured they'd pose a challenge. I wasn't wrong about that, but I took him out in the end.
Dietrich, when does this pattern end?
Well, boss, the way I figure it'll end when I pick a fight that I can't win.
He smiles sadly.
Maybe this one, maybe the next. It'll be hard to top a great dragon. But that's the way the Dragon Slayer wants it, and who am I to refuse him?
Abruptly, he turns away.
That's enough talk for today, boss. Besides, you've got other things to do, I'm sure.
Thanks, Dietrich. Bye. Ager offers you a shallow nod. Novacat? Do you trust me, Ager? She pauses for a moment, considering. Finally, she nods. Yeah, I do. You've earned that much. I haven't always agreed with your decisions, Novacat, but you've proven your competence. It's only fair for me to acknowledge that. Then tell me what happened to your team. This again? Why do you even care, Novacat? Because it's pretty clear that if you had your way, you'd still be with them, and a good leader places a priority on knowing her team. She slowly nods. Alright, I'll tell you. I suppose that you deserve to know. What happened to us was Hoffman. He was a rookie, the kid of some big money corporate exec. He looked good on paper, and he made it through KSK training, so he was technically qualified to join a team, but he was way too green to fit in with ours. Still, he wanted to be a hero, and his family had enough clout to get him an assignment of his choosing. I don't know how many strings Hoffman's daddy had to pull to get him assigned to our team, but he pulled them. Hoffman became our 9th squad mate, despite Metzger's objections. Anyway, flash forward a few weeks. We were closing in on one of the Russian mob's major trafficking operations. They'd been using a series of warehouses 50 miles from the border as a staging area for the convoys. Women and girls from Eastern Europe were being housed there. When the convoys came, they'd be crammed into cargo containers and hauled across the border into Germany. Go to any brothel along the border and have a look around. Chances are, you'll find at least a few girls who spent some time in those warehouses. Slovakians, Hungarians, Poles, you name it. The mob had been smuggling them over for decades. But we were in a position to derail their operation, and we weren't going to let our new addition slow us down. We hit them by surprise, and we hit them hard. Fisher and Braun managed to take down the Banshee that they had patrolling the site. Wolf had reconnaissance drones overhead providing battle tac feeds to the rest of us, and we picked off their gunmen one by one. They had numbers on us, but they didn't know where to hit us. We had eyes in the sky, and we had cover and concealment. Every time they thought they had a fix on us, we'd shift positions and hit them again. They might as well have been fighting ghosts. Then Hoffman broke cover and gave away our position, and after that, all hell broke loose. Wolf went down first. The sound of it will haunt me for the rest of my days. An explosion, a choked scream, and then this long, drawn-out gurgling sound. When he died, his drones went down with him, and there were too many hostiles to track without them. I'll spare you the gory details, Novacat. Suffice it to say that my team was wiped out. Ager's face clouds again. You can see the tears beginning to well in her eyes. I watched Metzger die. With visible effort, she clamps down on her emotions and calms herself. When she speaks again, her voice is flat. I took 3 rounds myself. Had to drag myself back across the Oder-Neisse line into Germany. I almost died. So that's the story. My KSK career died with the rest of my team. Our mission was illegal after all, off the books. There was no going back for me, so I wound up here. She looks you in the eye. Her tone is impassive. Did that tell you everything you wanted to know, Fearless Leader? Are you satisfied now? Yes, thank you, Ager. So, tell me. What's your takeaway from my tale of woe? I figure that you've got to have one. When Monica died, you blamed me because I was new to the team. But I'm not Hoffman, Ager. Yeah, she nods. I know that. And you are right, to a point. I might have judged you too harshly because of Hoffman. But everything else that I said was justified. Giving you command of this team was a hasty decision made for the wrong reasons. I stand by that assessment. But between now and then, I've been watching you like a hawk, and you've grown, Novacat. You weren't the right choice to lead before. I still believe that. But you are now. Thanks, Ager. Good talk. She nods. Until next time. Yeah, fuck Hoffman. What a piece of shit. Glad that fool's dead. Sad the rest of the team is dead. Glory's expression remains distant, but her lips curl upward into a hint of a smile. Novacat, need something? Everything still okay with you? You never need to worry about me, Novacat. I'm fine. I'd still like to know more about that chrome you're sporting. That's not a story that I'm interested in telling out of context. If you really want to get into it, we're going to need to go back. Way back. She stares at you with her cold, dead eyes. I am not sure that you want to do that. You say that you'll give me answers when we talk about your past, so let's talk about it. Why do you care? There's no hostility in her voice. If anything, she sounds suspicious. Because I'm the leader of this team and I need to know as much as I can about the runners who are working with me. She pauses for a moment, considering. Then she nods. Alright, fine, we can talk, but we're doing it on my terms. This is a long story, Novacat. Long and ugly and cruel. Are you sure that you want to hear this? Please. Alright, I'm going to start at the beginning. Not for you, but for me. I guess that it might help me to say all of this out loud. She takes a deep breath and slowly releases it. When she speaks, her voice comes out in a cool monotone. My family lived in Stuttgart. It was a nice enough place, I suppose. My parents worked as wage slaves for IFMU. My mom was a good person. Once upon a time, my father was a decent person as well. That's what Mom always told me, but I never knew him that way. She pauses for a long moment. When she begins speaking again, some of the ice has fallen away from her voice. For the first time since you met her, Glory sounds alive. The dad that I knew was an old, damaged Euro War vet who turned to hardline religion to make sense of the world. In Stuttgart, that meant either the Ritter Christi or their fascist cousins, the Kreuzritters. My father chose the latter path. I still remember hiding in my room when my father had his Kreuzritter brothers over for prayer group. They would drink and get rowdy, then spend an hour or two riling themselves up with talk about heretics and the devil's work. Then they'd go find some poor elf or a dwarf, stomp the living shit out of him, and drown him in the Neckar. Meanwhile, I'd hole up at home with Mom, who would commemorate the event by drinking a bottle of wine and crying herself to sleep. I'm sorry, Glory. No child should have to grow up around that. Thanks, Novacat. This is difficult for me. Thank you for making it easier. Anyway, aside from the fact that my dad and his buddies were a bunch of murderous assholes, life was pretty normal. I went to school, made friends, hung out with my mom. Good stuff. Then I turned 14, and everything went to shit. Glory pauses, then swallows hard. Ever so slightly, her cheeks flush red. Suddenly, she looks self-conscious, as if she's just snapped out of a trance. As quickly as it came, the flush of emotion disappears. Her voice frosts over. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Airing this stuff out is clearly helping you to work through it. Yes, it is. Glory stares at you through cold, dead eyes. But I'm not going to be able to get through this in one sitting. You need to understand that. She turns away from you, her movements mechanical. Now, let's get back to the job at hand, shall we? Alright. That's where we will leave Glory for now. I love Glory. Lets his eyes widen when he sees the drone that you're carrying. He looks anxious. Oh, hey, Chief. How's it going? I found this drone in that hotel vault. Does it belong to you? Yeah, Chief. That's mine. I didn't want to say anything at the time, since it was my idea to have you loot the vault in the first place. Would have saved me some running around if you had come clean. I, forgot about it. Honestly, Chief, I'm just glad to see her up and running again. How'd you pull that off anyway? Malit fixed your drone. She says that it won't listen to anyone but you, though. Score. So, can I have it back? Sure. It's no use to me anyway. Cool. Hello, Vinny. I'm doing alright. How are you? Blitz stubs out a cigarette at your approach. Novacat, I was hoping I'd see you. Do you have another run lined up for us yet? I'm strapped for cash. Don't worry. We're doing fine on the job front. Amsel's been working overtime. Oh, thank God. And thank you, Chief. Thank Paul, too, come to think of it. So, do you have a question for me, or was this a social call? Just checking in on you. Money problems aside, you doing okay? Not too bad, Chief. Not bad at all. It's downright cozy in here. This probably goes without saying, but it's also nice to have my skills appreciated by someone who isn't a drug-addled psychopath. Gang life was getting old. Why are you so strapped for cash? With all the work we've been doing, you should be rolling in new yen. What can I say, Chief? He tries on a thoroughly unconvincing smile, but immediately seems to think better of it. The anxious look returns through his face. I have expensive tastes. How expensive are we talking here? Even if you had a raging cram habit, I'd think that you'd have at least some money left. Expensive. Truth be told, I'm in debt. In debt? To who? He hesitates before responding. When he does, his voice carries an edge of annoyance. No offense, but this is getting a little too personal, Chief. My debts are none of your business. If some bookie sends his thugs here looking for you, it's going to become my business. So talk, now. Blitz shakes his head in exasperation. Alright, fine. First off, you don't need to worry about anyone coming after me. My debts are to a bunch of old contacts. If I don't pay them, I'm gonna lose them, and in this line of work, it isn't smart to burn bridges. Second, before you ask, those debts are for services rendered. I was in a tight spot, I needed some help, and I threw around a lot of IOUs to get it. Third, and finally, the trouble I was in involved the girl. I'll tell you about it if you ask me to, but we're verging deep into personal feelings territory, so if you don't want to hear me sob over my ex-girlfriend, you'll drop the subject now. So it's up to you, Chief. You really want to go down this road, or shall we keep this relationship professional? You're clearly preoccupied with this. In our line of work, preoccupied can get you killed. So spit it out and we'll deal with it. Blitz meets your gaze for a moment, then looks away and sighs. Alright, where to begin? I met Emily in Dragonfall. She was the first person who was ever more important to me than myself. I was crazy about her, Chief. To this day, she's the only person I've ever met who could outdeck me. And the real kicker is that she wasn't even a decker by trade. There was nothing she wasn't good at. I like to dabble in rigging, but Emily, that girl could pick up anything that she set her mind to. Sounds like a hell of a girl. She was. She made things right. No matter how stupid I was, no matter what I got myself into, she made it right. I don't think much of many people, Chief. Emotional attachments aren't really my thing. Love seems like a diluted word these days, so I won't waste it on Emily. Let's just say that she was important to me. And then I lost her. I didn't know what was happening. It came out of nowhere. One day, she was just gone, along with most of my decking gear. The only explanation was a handwritten note on old-fashioned paper. Leave me alone. That was it. We'd been together for years, and that was all she left me. That and this beat-up old cyberdeck. Naturally, I freaked. We'd had our share of arguments, but we never had a huge blowout or anything. I couldn't think of anything that'd drive her to do a thing like that. Mostly, I felt hurt, so I searched for her in the real world and in the Matrix. And when that turned up nothing, I started tapping my contacts. And that was when I started racking up debt. And so, did you find her? No, she's gone, Novacat, without a trace. I looked high, I looked low, I poked into everything I could think of, and my contacts did the same. He shakes his head. She's gone, Chief. At this point, I've accepted that, but I still have to repay those debts. I'm surprised that you've given up so easily. There must be some place you haven't looked. He blinks. I don't know, Novacat. I really did look everywhere and at great personal cost. If she means that much to you, you owe it to yourself to try. Yeah, you might be right. He shakes his head. Fuck. I thought I was done with this, but you're right. Without some kind of closure, I'm never going to be at peace with this. Thanks for the talk, Chief. I'll let you know how it goes. You do that, Blitz. Good luck. Hell yeah. Alright, let's go check the DVDs for more lore, and then we will talk to her Amsel. There we go. Play track 1.
I was thinking about Adrian today. Not as he was when he disappeared, not as the fabled Dragon Slayer or the big-time CEO of Deal Defense. I was thinking about when we were kids. Well, I was always more of a kid than he was, of course. He's 15 years older than me. In a way, he was more like a parent than a brother.
Winters pauses. His gaze drops to an invisible point on the table in front of him.
So I was thinking about this time when we were on holiday. Our parents took us out to the island of Pole to enjoy the beach. I must have been about 5 years old. Adrian was 20. It'd be his last family vacation with us. A year later, he'd begin his meteoric rise to fame and fortune. But on this trip, he was my brother. And when I fell out of the little paddle boat that our parents rented and started sinking fast into the Baltic, he was the one who dove in to rescue me. You saved my life that day, Adrian. I'll love you forever for that. And I will find you. I owe you that much. Found an old news article that mentions Adrian from way back in 2036. It was printed in a financial magazine called Das Finanzwesen. One of those chic print-based mags that they produced for the retro crowd. There aren't any clues in here, but it's good to see someone else acknowledge his existence.
He clicks an off-screen button, and the image of Winters disappears. It is replaced by a digital scan of a magazine page. SK stock suffers in post-buyout brain drain, November 12, 2039. In the aftermath of the Dragon Lofweir's hostile takeover of Seder Krupp... I'm not even gonna. A continuing brain drain of high-level executives is causing ongoing worry among company shareholders. The company's stock took a major hit when Lofweir deposed former CEO Wilhelmina Graf Benoit last August. 3 months later, long-held power positions within the SKI empire continue to empty as Dragon consolidates its power base. The most recent casualties of Lofweir's takeover include Alexandra Kobayashi, former COO of Seder Munitions, Madhouse Donor, former treasurer of Ruhr Datafax, and Werner Harding, former CEO of Deal Defense. Harding stepped into the role to replace Dr. Adrian Vauclair, who disappeared under mysterious circumstances 2 years ago. Winter's face winks back onto the screen. Wow, reading is difficult. So there you have it. That's what they had to say about Adrian a mere 2 years after his disappearance. My brother, the footnote. Nothing. Dr. Vauclair, this is dated 2034-09-10. Dr. Vauclair, it is my sad duty to inform you that, by unanimous vote of the your position as CEO of Deal Defense will be terminated at the end of this calendar month. Your continued misallocation of company funds to pursue personal agendas cannot and will not be tolerated any longer. The supervisory board is not unsympathetic to your mental state. The trauma that you endured during your pursuit of the Dragon Fire Swing must have been enormous. But your continuing obsession with the dragon, the dead dragon, I might add, has proven a negative influence on his company and an unjustified drain on company resources. The board wishes you all the best in your future endeavors. We have prepared a generous severance package to assist you in this time of transition. If there is anything more that we can do to help you, please don't hesitate to ask. Werner Harding. Alright, that's that. Let's talk to Paul. Amsel calls over his shoulder at the sound of your approach. His eyes are glued to his computer's display. Novacat, Frau Mueller should be on her way. But before you go to the meeting site, I have news. He glances at you and his words trail off. Upon seeing the expression on your face, Amsel's voice becomes grave. It can wait. Tell me what has happened. Bad news, my friend. Somebody is hunting us. They set up an ambush on the U-Bahn line. Amsel pauses, then gives a curt nod. Truth be told, I've been expecting that something like this might happen. I'm just glad that you made it out alive. One of the attackers dropped this. Amsel takes the PDA from you and examines it. Yes, I should be able to extract some information from this. Give me a moment. He plugs the PDA into his computer and goes to work. A few moments later, he lets out a grunt of dismay. Well, Novacat, I was able to recover a file, but unfortunately that's all that I'll ever be able to pull off of this thing. All that anyone will, truth be told. It must have been running some kind of counter-intrusion software. The instant that I gained access, it bricked itself. Amsel disconnects the useless PDA and drops it to the ground. It clatters to a rest on the meadow floor. What did you manage to pull off of it?
A comm file. The audio was all here, but it looks like we've only got video from one side of the conversation. Let's see what we have.
He opens the file, and a nightmarishly familiar face appears on screen.
Bachmeyer!
The voice bleats out from Amsel's speakers, filling the room.
Adron here! What's your status?
Bachmeyer's image is garbled, but his voice sounds young and eager. Target acquired, sir. You were right. We spotted her on the U-Bahn, just like you said. Probably on our way to a job. As per your instructions, we're gonna try to take her out on her way back. She'll be more vulnerable that way. Hopefully injured and low on ammo, too, but only time will tell.
Good man! Proceed as instructed.
Will do. Cosman is making up an ambush point now. We'll try to make it quick. The orc with the nightmare face nods.
Send me a comm when the job is done. Adron out.
The image on the computer screen dies. Amsel turns to face you.
Well, our scarred friend makes an appearance. Novacat, I suspect that Green Winter's predictions are coming true. I believe that Firestring is behind this.
Under Amsel's patient exterior, you can feel the worry that's eating at him.
Be on guard. You and the rest of your team. You made it through this attack relatively unscathed, but next time you might not be so lucky.
At least now we have a name to put to the face. Audrin.
That's not all we have. As I was saying when you first walked in, I have been productive as well. I was able to uncover some new evidence in your absence, and coincidentally enough, that evidence pertains to our scarred friend. You might recall that I said I'd dig into Audrin's skin grafts. Well, I did, and that search has finally borne fruit. One of my contacts outside of Berlin handles the paperwork for private hospitals all across Germany. It's a dull, boring job, but it does have its perks.
Amsel pulls out a file on his computer. A medical chart opens up on the screen.
As it turns out, our scarred friend's skin grafts were performed at a legitimate hospital after all.
Some good news for once. What do they say?
Well, they're rather light on identifying information. Our friend's name is listed as Max Musterman, the local equivalent of John Doe, but they do cover his injuries in great detail. Audrin's injuries were extensive. He had 2 broken ribs and a shattered pelvis, and he had sustained third-degree burns over 60% of his body. Most damningly of all, he was suffering from acute radiation poisoning. His body had absorbed over 5,000 millisieverts of ionizing radiation, a lethal dose without treatment. The information dries up at this point. We know that he was treated and discharged, but what happened afterward remains a mystery.
He pauses for a moment, studying your reaction.
Your thoughts? Hold nothing back. I'd like to hear everything that comes to mind.
Audrin must have spent some time in the SOX. That radiation poisoning didn't happen on its own.
Agreed. 5,000 millisieverts is a lot of exposure. Short of basking in the glow of an unshielded reactor, I don't know how he'd have absorbed that much ionizing radiation without spending time in the SOX. Alright, so Audrin was heavily irradiated, most likely from time spent in the SOX. What else did this tell you?
Well, those burns sound like dragonfire. But if the Fire Wing burned Audrin, why would he be working for her now?
I don't think that Audrin is working for the Fire Wing. I believe that he is serving her. On Green Winter's second DVD, he mentions that there is a cult within the SOX that worships the Fire Wing, the Disciples of the Cleaning Fire. I believe that Audrin belongs to this cult.
That's bad news. There's nothing more dangerous than a zealot. Hey, Brainbuster.
My thoughts exactly. A hireling can sometimes be bribed or reasoned with. A pawn can be liberated. But if the Fire Wing soldiers look upon her as a goddess figure, nothing short of killing her will deter them, and even that might not stop them. So, it is possible that Audrin is a dragon cultist. This seems to fit with much of the other information that we've uncovered. Did any other red flags jump out to you?
The hospital couldn't ID Audrin. Either somebody covered his tracks for him, or he was living completely off the grid.
Indeed. If Audrin were a denizen of the SOX, a glowpunk, his lack of identifying information would make sense.
Amsel adjusts his glasses.
It's a working theory at any rate. So, to sum up, Audrin has probably spent time in the SOX. It's possible that he even lived there as a member of Fireshwing's dragon cult. And he is after you.
Amsel pauses for a moment before continuing.
In my mind, all of this reinforces one fact. We need to find Vauclair, and we need to do it fast.
Agreed.
Good, and that's all the more reason to gather Alice's fee as quickly as possible.
There is a buzzing sound from Paul's wrist. He lifts his hand to look at his PDA.
And, as luck would have it, Frau Mueller has arrived. Best of luck at the meeting, Novacat. Remember, this is urgent. We need that money.
I'm on it. Right after we do a different job, actually, for a pharma company, okay? Amsel's face winks onto the screen.
Here you will find the complete transcript of my conversation with Herr Fuchs, a potential client. The job seems to be relatively straightforward.
It's probably Herr Fuchs, right? It's not Herr Fuchs. It's German, it's probably Herr Fuchs. There's no way they would name his character Herr Fuchs, though, right?
Hold up. Just give me, like, the written... It might be Fuchs. Fuchs. No, in German it is Fuchs.
Wait, why am I frozen? Hello? What happened? My phone died? Ah! Phone die. Hold up. Face isn't frozen, but the mocap is. Hold up. We have an alternative. I thought it should be plugged in. I don't know why it died. Where am I? Hello? Oh, wow, fuck. Come on. There we go. It's actually been a little bit since I've appeared... since I've appeared in 2D. I guess I will move my tripod and stuff. And I'll plug this stupid phone in. Yeah, so I think it's pronounced fucks. Because, like, German pronunciation is just fucks. Or fugs. Or... Could be Vux. Actually, Vux seems pretty... No, German, it's just Fuchs. Hold on. Oh, it's Fuchs! I was looking at, Alemannic German. Fuchs. Here you will find the complete transcript of my conversation with Herr Fuchs, a potential client. The job seems to be relatively straightforward and the payout is reasonable. One would have cautioned before you proceed, there are aspects of this run that you might find morally troubling. Be sure to read and understand the specifics of the job before accepting. If you do accept, you will be expected to carry out the requirements of the job in full. After reading the transcript, you may choose whether or not to accept the job. If you respond in the affirmative, our client will be notified, and I will make all necessary preparations for the run. Herr Amsel? Yes, I am here. To whom am I speaking? You may call me Herr Fuchs. Very well, please describe the work that you would like to have done. Straight to the point. I like that. Very well. I would like to retain your team's services to clean up a mess. Go on. My employers dispatched a team of operatives to conduct a quiet operation at a local Sharing Pharma AG lab. Unfortunately, they botched the job. The team was eliminated, but we have reliable information that one of the operatives has been taken captive. If this rogue agent were to spill information leading back to my employers, it could lead to a corporate war. A great many lives could be lost. My employers would like nothing more than to prevent such a tragic turn of events. Ah, I see. And you wish to retain my team's services to tie up loose ends. Exactly. The captive operative is a rigger by the name of Thorvald Enstad. We need him neutralized before he can inform on us to his captors. As Enstad and his team have already put the facility on high alert, stealth will not be an option. Your team will need to shoot its way in, eliminate Enstad, and exit the facility. A straightforward enough task and well within my team's capabilities. What are you offering in terms of pay? 15,000. This offer is non-negotiable. Very well. I will pass the offer on to my team. Very good. Good day, Herr Amsel. That's not a very lot of money. I'll take it. Because it's content. Right? So we might as well do it. Pays like shit, though. I just realized that I no longer have to worry about how I am, like, ambulating. And that's nice. I can ambulate all I want. I can move my limbs and my head in all directions. It's incredible. Huh. That actually sounds interesting, Brainbuster. So I can afford a new gun, but I can't use it. Oh, yeah, and also what that job will be good for is, karma. Because we're gonna need a lot of it if we want to get our ranged combat up again. At least 10. I think we talked to... Oh, you know what we didn't hit? Is... the bar. Let's check if anybody's at the bar. Oh, Lucky Strike is still here. Lucky Strike raises an eyebrow at your approach. A burning cigarette dangles between the fingers of her right hand, and she holds a glass of scotch in her left. Novacat, fancy seeing you again. Yeah, I was hoping that you'd want to chat. Oh? She takes a drag on her cigarette. Well, color me surprised. What do you want to talk about? Been finding much work recently? Yeah, but the Cruise Bazaar isn't the best place to do it. There aren't a ton of jobs out here if you don't have a network. You don't have people in the Cruise Bazaar? Nope. My crew is in... wow, Mita? There's lots of work out there if you can handle it, but life isn't as pleasant there as it is in the Cruise Bazaar. She gestures with her cigarette, the tip glowing red in the gloom. I mostly visit your lovely little kiosks between runs to wrist talk and relax. It's a good place for that. Nice and slow-paced. It's... She pauses for a moment to search for a word. Quaint. Don't suppose you'd be interested in taking a permanent position on my team? Don't suppose I would? Like I said, I've got a team of my own. Good people who've earned my loyalty 100 times over. I can do a little moonlighting here and there, but they wouldn't take it kindly if I up and bailed on them. She takes another sip of scotch. Better that it stay like this. If you need me for a run, I'm available. You just need to pay me first. Keeps things clean and simple. Is the bartender here any good? Nope. It's called Der Wine Keller for a reason. The guy behind the bar is more like a bush league sommelier than he is a proper bartender. Knows a bit about wine, but when he comes to mixing drinks, he's useless. If you want a drink, I'd recommend sticking to something simple. Try ordering something with more than 2 ingredients, and you're asking for trouble. So, are you a wine drinker then? Me? No. Never developed a taste for it. She tilts her glass, swirling the amber liquid inside. I'm not a big fan of sweet things. Never have been. Not even when I was a kid. I've always preferred smoke. If you don't like wine, why hang out in a wine bar? Because it's usually empty in here, and I don't like to be bothered. And as hopeless as the bartender is, it's tough to mess up scotch if you order it neat. Now, do you have another question, or... I gotta run. See you around. Yeah, see ya. I like her. She's cool. Very cool. Alright. Let's go... do some work. Work time. Oh, really? Okay. Gotta meet her first. We're not talking to this guy at all. As you press your way forward through the cozy, smoke-filled confines of Cafe Kesva, you catch sight of Frau Mueller. She appears as Amsel described her, an impressive-looking woman of Aztlaner descent, with coffee-colored skin and dark, wavy hair. Everything about her screams corporate executive, from her expensive-looking suit to her tastefully understated makeup. She's obviously nervous, but she's hiding it well. She locks eyes with you and hesitates only slightly before speaking. Novacat, I presume? Her Amsel told me that I could meet you here. He wasn't lying. He said that you had a job for me? She holds her silence for a moment, then nods. Yes, I do. In truth, I'm in desperate need of your help. Then tell me what you need, Frau Mueller. She offers you a slight smile. An assumed name, obviously, but I have been told that this is how you people do business. She straightens in her seat and tries on a smile. It hangs there for a second, then fades away. She sighs. From my accent, you've no doubt inferred that I'm an Aztlaner. Further, you may have guessed who I work for. You tell me, I'm not in the business of guessing. Aztechnology, the only Aztlan-based corporation operating in Germany. I've been with the company for over a decade. Over the course of my employment, I've worked on a great many projects. From the innocuous to the obscene, my hands have touched it all. Never once did I question the wisdom of our research. Never once did I consider blowing the whistle on my employers. I kept my nose down, worked hard, and excelled at the tasks set before me. Go on, please. Last month, I transferred here from my home in Tenochtitlan. They told me that an employee of my caliber was needed in Berlin, and that I would be working on a project with wide-reaching applications. The only other detail that I was given was the name of the project. Bloodline. That doesn't sound good. She looks you in the eye, and for the first time, you can see the cracks in her composure. She's doing a terrific job of hiding it, but deep down, this woman is terrified. I've seen many terrible things in my life, Novacat. In Tenochtitlan, blood magic is commonplace. Take a moment to imagine what that means. In the underground markets, people are bought and sold as chattel. Street children are rounded up and bled like lambs. I witnessed all of these things by the age of 12. She takes a deep breath, then lets it out slowly. By the way, Aztlan is, the United South Americas, I believe. Let me double check this. So I believe all of South America is united under the name Aztlan. And is, like, functionally owned and operated by Az Technology. I want the... Fuck. Aztlan is a country covering all of Central America between Rio Bravo and the Nueces River and the Andes. It possesses land borders with the CAS, Pueblo, and Amazonia. The Panama Canal Zone is under the control of the corporate court. The CAS is the UCAS, right? Confederation of American States. Oh, yeah? Interesting. The CAS is the South, apparently. And you can kind of assume what that means. Amazonia is... Okay, no. I think Amazonia is South America. And... Amazonia is one of the most important awakened nations and one of the few countries to have a dragon as a head of state. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Located in the northeast of South America, Amazonia territory spread over the Orinoco and Amazonian Basin and the Brazilian Plateau. It enclaves Venezuela and also has land borders with French Guinea, Aztlan, Peru, Bolivia, Paraguay, Argentina, and Uruguay. Oh! Apparently South America wasn't fully absorbed. Central America was absorbed into Aztlan. And... Amazonia, like, South America is mostly fine. Huh. Chile is not mentioned. Have a good sleep, Sammy. Let's see if Chile is mentioned. Hold on. Anywhere in this wiki. How do you find on mobile? Find in page. No, there is no mention of Chile. Chile is not important enough to be mentioned on the Shadowrun wiki, Cookie. I'm sorry. She takes a deep breath and then lets it out slowly. Seeing such things, it changes you, makes you numb. But what I found when I arrived here was worse. This project, it horrifies me, Nova Cat, and it must be stopped. Tell me everything you know about Bloodline. She shakes her head. The less that you know, the better, for both of us. You'll just have to trust me on that. You need only know that it is evil, and that is not a word that I use lightly. Yeah, Brainbuster, it's probably a good thing that Chile isn't mentioned. If you won't tell me what this bloodline is, how do you expect me to stop it? Simple. She leans in and looks you in the eye. I want you to bring the building down. The computers, the research data, the mages and scientists that are working to bring about this abomination. I want all of them burned to ash and buried in rubble. No compromises and no exceptions. Her tone softens. I'm sure that you have unanswered questions. I'm not in the habit of dealing with Shadowrunners. In truth, I've spent the majority of my career living in fear of you people. But I do know that you're the only ones who can get this done. So tell me, Nova Cat, is there anything more that you need to hear from me? Or are you ready to make a decision? What about any innocent people in the building? None of us are innocent, Nova Cat. But if you need to salve your conscience, rest assured that at the hour of your approach, the only personnel authorized to be on site will be security and senior members of the research team. And I assure you, neither are innocent in this matter. If the Bloodline project reaches completion, nobody will be safe ever again. This sounds like hyperbole, I know, but it isn't. The Bloodline project will lead to countless deaths. I am certain of enough of this to hire you, despite the fact that doing so will probably cost me my own life. I'm not a demolitions expert, Frau Mueller. How do you expect me to level a building? You don't need to be. You just need to be a competent decker, which I'm told you are. The facility is powered by a number of on-site generators. There are safeguards in place to prevent them from overloading. In the event of a power spike, the system is designed to shut itself down. But I know how you can disable those safeguards. Once the generators begin to overload, you'll have a limited time to reach a safe distance. The explosion will be quite catastrophic. What can you tell me about building security? Expected to be tight. In addition to their standard security team, as Technology has taken out a knight-errant high-threat response team contract to protect the building. Corporate doesn't seem to mind contracting a competitor for emergency response services. That should give you some indication as to the uniqueness of this project. At any rate, I believe that I've come up with a solution to the knight-errant problem. I'll discuss the matter with your Herr Amsel if you decide to take the job. Paul Amsel is my representative in these matters. Why couldn't you tell all of this to him? I had to meet with you in person, to look into your eyes and see the woman behind the name. Now that I have done so, I am sure you are the one that I need. Naturally, I will send any further information about the job to Herr Amsel, provided, of course, that you accept. Let's talk compensation. 36,000 yen, as I told Herr Amsel. That's what I have allocated for the job. That's fair. It's better than fair. I've done my homework, Novacat. I've reached a decision. Yes, and I'll take the job. Her face visibly brightens. In that case, it's a deal. I can't tell you how relieved I am, Novacat. Thank you for helping me to bring this nightmare to an end. I will iron out the remaining details with your Herr Amsel. He'll want to talk this over with you anyway, I'm sure. You're a good woman, Novacat. You are saving more lives than you know. Alright. Bye. Do I have to notify him now, or can we leave on the job? Because we still have that farmer cleanup job. I don't want to get too in the weeds about another job before we're doing a different one. Yeah, I think we can just leave. Yeah. This one should be pretty simple. This will probably actually be a milk run. Considering the payday, should be.